Bienvenidos a esta entrevista al programa de líderes académicos en el Tecnológico de Monterrey, Campus Toluca. En esta ocasión tenemos la visita del Dr. Earl Barnes, profesor emérito de Georgia Institute of Technology y actualmente profesor de Morgan State University. Welcome, Dr. Barnes.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to Campus Toluca.
Thank you.
Welcome again. You have been several times here. Tell us about your previous visits here.
Well, I have several students here that I met at Georgia Tech, and occasionally they invite me here for some purpose, mostly to give lectures. But we also have I get to do some sightseeing, I get to see some of Mexico, and I get to talk with them. I wish that we worked a little harder to have some actual collaboration about our work, and we have not been successful at doing that. But this is a little harder. It takes a little more continuous time to actually produce a paper or to do a project together. But we should try harder. I think this would be a good thing to aim for.
Yeah, sure. Professor, tell us about your background, about yourself. You were at Georgia Tech for, I think, 20 years, and then you are in Morgan State. What did you do there, and what are you doing now?
Well, Morgan State is my undergraduate college, and I went there and studied mathematics, and then I took a PhD degree in mathematics from University of Maryland. And after that, I worked for IBM in a research division. And we did math problems, but mostly operations research. So after many years of that, after 20 years, I moved to Georgia Tech and taught courses in operations research. And I did that for a very long time, and that's where I met you and a few other students from here. And so I ended up working with IBM, with Georgia Tech, and these were engineering schools, really, engineering places. But I always liked math. And finally, I got the opportunity to be chair of a mathematics department at my old undergraduate college. And the offer came at a time when I had had lots of other experiences that I'm glad I had, and I felt it was a good time I could go back there and hopefully try and identify some young students that remind me of the student I was when I was there, and try to guide them and hopefully enable them to have careers similar to the ones I've had, and that would be good. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah, sure. During this week, what have you done this time, and what are your plans for the rest of the week? Have you visited here in Campus Toluca?
Well, this is more of a working trip. When I came here, I was in the process of writing a textbook with another professor at Georgia Tech, and I think you are using the notes for one of your classes. Now, we're way behind schedule on this book, and I wanted to talk to some of your students about things we discuss in that book, and I view it as a chance for me to work on the book, and also a chance to give some lectures from those topics we addressed there. So it's a working vacation. I've been several times in Mexico, and I've done lots of sightseeing and gone to other cities, and so this is a very short visit, and I view it as a chance to get some things done on my book, to see some of my former students, find out what they're doing, and see if we can collaborate on some things together.
Sure. About your book, tell us about the topics you like the most in your book.
Well, one thing we try to do is be clear on the difficult topics. I mean, of course, any linear programming textbook describes simplex algorithm, dual simplex, and network flow problems. These are easy linear programming topics. But we want to talk some about the more difficult topics, the decomposition procedures for large-scale problems, especially Bender's decomposition, Lagrangian decomposition. We want to talk about that. And we want to talk some about numerical processes, how you actually implement simplex. So we do a lot with LU factorization of matrices, reinverting bases, and we do some of the implementation issues that are, a lot of very useful and powerful techniques were invented when computer memories were small. And that was years ago, and those techniques I still believe are important, and I would like young students to know that material, because I still believe it's the case that problems continue to grow, and even though the computers are bigger and faster now, we still need good mathematical techniques to handle new and emergent problems. And so we're trying to have a clear explanation with good examples of some of these decomposition techniques.
Yeah, I'm sure my students appreciate the details of your explanations in your book. Professor, I'm aware currently you're doing some research with undergraduate students at Morgan State. How does it work with them?
Well, our students are being encouraged to do more of the math and engineering areas. Now, there's encouragement from the government, for example. You hear statistics about the number of engineers that China produces versus the number that the U.S. produces. And so we're trying to increase the number of engineers and scientists we produce. And we have scholarship money to encourage students to be interested in science and engineering and math. And typically in mathematics department, I try to find students who are curious and who like a challenge. So I give them some small problems that are not obvious how to solve them, and I let them see what they can do with them in a small time, a week or so. And if they get results, more importantly, if they enjoy trying to solve these problems, then I'm willing to give them scholarships and encouragement to work on similar problems just for the fun of it. And I believe that that's the way to develop a scientist, to catch them while they're young and show them the joy that comes from discovering something. And so we give them little projects, especially math projects where there are some fairly easy to state problems, easy to say what the goal is, but it's not obvious how you solve it. And hopefully they'll just spend time, wrestle with it until they solve it. And when we identify students who like to do that, we give them strong encouragement.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Professor, you know your visit is sponsored by the Academic Leaders programs here in Tecnológico Monterrey, Campus Toluca. What do you think about this kind of programs?
Well, I think they are good programs. You know, when we were at Georgia Tech, and it still happens there, I'm sure, they had similar programs. They called them executive in residence. They tried to invite executives from industry to spend 1 year at Tech. Now, in most cases, those executives couldn't afford to spend 1 year, but many people came for short visits. Ralph Gomery, who had been the head of IBM Research while I was there, came for 2 weeks. And I think these executives provide good role models for students. In your case, I know, you invited me, and I'm a professor. It's not the same as an executive from an industry. I think it's good to have a mixture of both kinds. Executives from industry can talk to students about current problems, professors from universities can talk about approaches, solution techniques. But I think this is very good exposure for our students, and I wish we could do more of it in small colleges, have people so that our students can see more role models and learn about kinds of careers that are available to people in engineering and science.
Okay. Professor, thank you very much. It is always to have you here in Toluca. You're very welcome as always. I hope we'll have see you here soon, very soon. And I hope to see your book also very soon. This is Dr. Barnes, Dr. Earl Barnes from Morgan State University. Y él es uno de los líderes académicos que tenemos este semestre en el campus Toluca. Muchas gracias.